Welcome, everybody. My name is Gina Lazenby. I'm the chair of the Feng Shui Society, and we've got a wonderful Feng Shui community day today online for, I think, about 5 hours with some fantastic speakers. And in that, we've got a plan for us to gather in groups and talk and meet. So let's pretend that we're all in the same room, because that's the idea of these gatherings. Pre-COVID, we were all in the rooms. Now we're all online, but let's imagine ourselves together. And we've got some fantastic speakers. And our first speaker today, in our umbrella of looking at applying ancient wisdom, knowledge, and skills to modern spaces and lifestyles, Feng Shui, both as an ancient art practice and incorporating all the modern aspects we bring to it. One of the questions that we're going to ask today is how is it keeping up with our changing lifestyle? But our first session is going to be with William Bloom, and the subject is home sweet home. In fact, William, haven't I? I've got the mug here. I've got the right branding for this one. Home sweet home, how to call the spirit and angel of your home. And William he has authored 26 books on spirituality, meditation. I think his most celebrated book is Psychic Protection, Creating Positive Energies for People and Places. He has been listed as among the 100 most spiritually influential living people, and based in Glastonbury, a teacher, prominent in the field of spirituality and holistic well-being. I met you, William, back in probably 93. And I was going through one of these transition points, a big one, and I got myself to the Mind, Body, Spirit exhibition, and your book fell into my hand. I think we've all had this occasion where something has fallen into our hands, and it was a book that you wrote called Essential Writings of the New Age. So I grabbed this book, and it introduced me to things that I had just not heard of before, and it awakened something in me. And I met you the following week. You were hosting Gary Zukav as part of probably Alternatives program, and I just got his book the day before, and I'd missed him. But we started a long connection and friendship then, and I was so grateful to you for your mentoring and your support when I opened up the London Personal Development Centre, which was part of my journey. We all have things that are part of our journey, and it's fantastic to welcome you here today and to see that you're still doing an even more wonderful, amazing thing. So I'm handing over to you, William.
Oh, thank you, Gina. That was a very generous, affectionate, warm opening, wasn't it, people? Just very kind, very kind. I'm grateful for that, straight into my heart. So let's have a 60 seconds mindfulness, just bring ourselves fully present. So if you fancy it, would you just close your eyes? And as best you can, just let whatever's going on in your life, just let it go. Whatever's been happening this week, this month, relationships, money, whatever it is, just let it go. And as best you can, just be fully present here, now. And maybe just take one slow, quiet, silken breath down into your stomach. Just one. Slow and quiet. Okay. So open your eyes, maybe give yourself a little stretch. I like working online because I don't know about you, but if you're into this arena of Feng Shui and atmospheres, I think we can feel the connection and the change in atmosphere as we go into the silence. And that's actually crucial in relation to Feng Shui, because at the end of the day, what we're actually doing is shifting the atmosphere in you. And what I want to do in this short session is I want to share some ideas, and we'll do an exercise towards the end as well. And I don't have a background, a heritage in the Feng Shui tradition, but I come from another background, another tradition, and I think you'll see that they merge together really well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've only got 4 or 5 slides. I promise not to kill you with PowerPoint. I'm going to show you some pictures, and there's a question I'm going to ask, which is, what do they have in common? So a little bit of kerfuffle while I go into share slides mode. There we go. So what do the following images have in common? This is the Milky Way. This is a nest for a primate. This is a palace. This is a very quaint little home. Oh, another nest. We've gone from the Milky Way to an animal's nest. What do they have in common? If this was a longer session in real life, I'd start writing on the board whatever you were shouting at me, right? But what they have in common is that they're homes. They're homes. The Milky Way is the major galaxy in which our solar system, our planet, it's our bigger home. And sometimes the Milky Way is seen, isn't it, as milk from the breast of the goddess. And the Milky Way is what holds us. And then it comes down to the palace or the little traveler's home or a primate's nest or a rabbit warren. So I have a question for you. What do they all have in common?
Consciousness.
Oh, we got a voice coming out from the screen. I tell you what, stick it into chat. Whose ever voice that was, it's very welcome. But as nobody else can chat, what do all those things have in common? And people are coming.
Nurturing.
Do us a favor, don't chat, because some people are muted and it's not fair on the others who can't speak. Energy, safety, they're connected, beautiful, inhabited, created by the owner for their comfort, consciousness, nurturing, containers of creation, heart of energy. Supposing you're talking now on behalf of a rabbit that's made its little home in a warren, what would the rabbit want the home to be like? Peaceful, balanced, secure, safe, warm, connected, sanctuary, safety and comfort. Done this exercise many times with people. I'm going to share screen again, just to show you something. Excuse me while I And these are the words, they reflect what you were saying. A home has these kinds of qualities in it: acceptance, calm, space, peace, nourishment, welcoming, family, intimacy, grace, cozy, hearth, familiar. The point I'm making, which is kind of obvious, but kind of crucial for the work we're interested in, is that whether it's a bunny rabbit in its warren or a traveler in their little home or a student in one-room accommodation or a monarch and an emperor in a palace or a baboon in its nest or the Milky Way, we know what a home feels like. There's an archetypal pattern, matrix of energies, of atmosphere that make what we would call a home. And it doesn't matter whether you're on the North Pole in an igloo or in a tent camping out there, you know what it's supposed to feel like. In the world of subtle energy, in the world of Jungian archetypes, in the world of Platonic, Plato's perfect forms, in the world of esoterics, metaphysics, thought forms, energy fields, all that kind of stuff, what we're looking at is that there is floating in a dimension we don't fully understand, floating in the dimension of subtle energy, there's a pattern, a matrix of this is what the perfect home is like. And it's not to do with where it's located, though that may, of course, help. And it's not to do with how it looks, though, of course, that may help. It's not to do with what objects you have in the home, although, of course, that will help. It's to do with the atmosphere. Those of you who are parents and have sent your late teenagers off to uni or off to their first jobs or off to their first bed sit, you will know what you want for your offspring as you deliver them. I remember delivering one of my children to uni and knowing as I put them in their horrible little kind of cell in the uni block, what I really want is I'm not going to take any notice of the smell and the aroma and the noise. I'm just going to say, I want it snuggy and safe for her. I want it cozy. I want it nurturing. I want it so she can sleep well at night. And we know what a home is like. And if we go into a more spiritual, holistic, subtle energy perspective, what I want to suggest to you is that that archetypal pattern of what a home is like is also held in the heart of whatever it is that holds the universe together. It's there in the Milky Way. We all know what a home is like. So floating around in subtle energy is this wonderful, huge pattern, archetypal pattern of the perfect home. And I have a favorite teacher who I managed to make friends with years ago, and David Spangler, some of you may know his name. And we went to stay with him at one point, Sabrina, my wife, and I, and children, comics, playthings, toys, a ferret while running around the place. But the atmosphere was just safe and nurturing and allowed people within it to feel so safe that they could risk new attitudes, new thoughts, new ways of behavior. So it wasn't claustrophobic or closeting. It was enabling and warm and helpful. So there's this energy field out there in the universe. And culture by culture, through history, people have instinctively known that it's there. Usually women, usually the matriarch of the household. And they have, and you'll find this in many cultures around the planet, you'll find that they have created little altars that call in a blessing on their home. And I'm thinking whether it's tribal in Central Africa, shamanic in America, Catholic in Italy, Buddhist in the Far East, whatever it is, when they do their prayer, their whatever it is they do, that in actual fact, although it's filtered by their local religion and culture, they're connecting with the same thing and it's coming through. So join me. This is going to be a little 5-minute shut eyes exercise, which will guide you. I'm going to guide you into a question. I'm not just going to lead you somewhere. I'm going to guide you into a question. So if you fancy it, would you just close your eyes? And would you let your body just sink down, relax, be at ease? Your body knows how to be at ease. It's what you do when you're just sitting in your favorite sofa or armchair, watching a screen, or when you're out in nature, cloud watching or looking at a view, or at a cafe, people watching. Just let your body settle down into being at ease. And just allow your heart and mind, your psyche, to be fully open to the idea that in the cosmos, in our universe, in the dimensions we don't fully understand of subtle energy, there is this enormous blueprint, pattern, archetype of the perfect home. Sits in the Milky Way, sits in great what in the Catholic tradition might be called archangels. And this pattern contains all those elements we talked about a few minutes ago: safety, nurturing, warmth, family, creativity, everything that anybody would want in their home. And here's the question. In the morning, in your home, after you've woken up, what would you like to do that acknowledges and calls in this, let's call it spirit, angel of the home? What would you like to do that says, hey, angel of the home, spirit of the home, perfect pattern, come be present here. Thank you for your presence. Might you say a prayer, do a dance, light a candle, arrange some flowers? Maybe you do it already. But actually, for tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, when you wake up in the first hour or so, what might you do to acknowledge that presence and call it in, anchor it down into your home? Whatever you do, that's your practice. If it works for you, Perfect. There are no examiners here, no invigilators. We support whatever you feel in your heart would be appropriate. And I'd like to give you a minute now to just note down whatever it is you are feeling, thinking, so that you don't forget it. So the question is, tomorrow morning, in the hour after you wake up, what would you do to call in, acknowledge the presence of the spirit of your home? What might you do? If you're stuck, may I suggest you just light a little candle, little night light. I've known chaotic students' homes, houses, the atmosphere transformed by just one person in the kitchen in the morning, lighting a little night light on somewhere and just pausing for 10 seconds and going, come on, thank you. Please be here, thank you. In our household, whoever's up first lights a night light in the center of the kitchen table in the hearth of the house. And, you know, whatever's going on in our home, and it's an ordinary home, we have people in it, we have relationships, we have neurotics, we have me, we have arguments, you know, it's a normal home. But that rhythm of calling that presence in and the mindfulness to do it substantially moves the atmosphere, helps. Doesn't tell you what to do with the atmosphere, it kind of magnetically attracts you into that vibe. And then within that, for me, it would be inside all that feng shui practices would come into harmonious placement. You know, I said to myself, I'm not going to criticize feng shui, but I remember 30 years ago when it was getting off the ground, going into a couple of people's houses, which were, there was stark white kind of Zen habitat with ornaments and stuff. And the people who had done this were not very nice people. You know, and I was going, yeah, it looks all right, but I want some heart energy. I want some flow. We're doing this in order to create a home that people want to live in. And equally, when you work with an office space, you want a place where people are at ease with each other and there's good communications and there's productivity. And you don't want something that's sterile. You want it nudged. And all of us, I imagine, in this community, at the end of the day, what we would like is a better, more loving, more conscious humanity, looking after our planet with more care and mindfulness and love and compassion. And so I find that working with those archetypal energies is very helpful and supportive to me. You know, whatever ego I have, whatever ego you have, that field of support is bigger and very, very supportive. So there you go. That's me. Gina, how do you want to handle it? I can't remember, what's our timing now? We've got 5 minutes or something?
We've got 5 minutes if people want to ask questions, and I'm just spotlighting myself for a second while I'm talking.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to say that I read one of your books, I had spotlight. I can't remember which one it was. And in these early days when I was angels, talk to them, really. So I tried it. I remember them. I lit a candle and I did exactly what you just said now. And there were 2 things happened that morning which were unbelievable. And one is I was in PR and I used to put news stories in, and there would be like a weekly trade magazine. And if I wanted something, I rang them. They rang me that morning and said, did I have any news? Which is completely unheard of. So, you know, I think I had an internal plan for the day of what I had to do, and that was in there. And a second magazine rang me. So that was like a pattern. It's just, you know, a one-off coincidence. Two of them rang me to say, do you have any news? And the other one was, I didn't really get on with my partner's mother. And we were ex-partner at the time. And I just said, you know what? And I just released, I just said, what she does to annoy me, she does because she loves him. And I let it go. And she rang the doorbell an hour later and dropped in to see me. And I thought, that's unbelievable. So, you know, these small things, I was just saying, I did exactly what you said, and it was transforming the energy.
Yeah. I think what happens, and it's important, is that when we allow the atmosphere of where we live and work to become more harmonious, more in flow with the Tao, with the universe, that allows for little ripples of grace and opportunity and movement and healing to happen much more easily. I'm a great believer in grace. That when there's a little flow of energy that comes through, and you don't have to pay off karma. It's released. Everything's okay. And
I like that. Allowing ripples of grace. I think that's a lovely way of describing it. Let's see if anybody has any questions for you.
Yeah, I'm looking in the chat. Are there any archetypal home spirit figures used in different cultures and traditions that you know of? I'm going to go back to, because I put in just a couple of images that angel of the household. They're just, do they look like this? They certainly look like this in people's psyches sometimes. A lot of Catholic homes relate to it as Mary. A lot of Hindu homes have various different ones of their gods and goddesses involved. I'm remembering things. There's the lovely elephant creature.
Um,
And tribe by tribe, group by culture, there will be godlings, spirits, Ganesha, thank you. There'll be godling spirits that the person inside that culture relates to. So what you need to be doing, lovely people, is you need to be, if you're going to use a icon, a sacred object in your kind of altar space, just make sure it works for you. I mean, I had a friend who did this exercise once, and he realized he had this beautiful, he was rich enough to have a room that was just a sanctuary, and it was filled with terribly elegant religious stuff. And after he did this exercise, he went, oh, actually, I don't relate to any of that stuff. It doesn't touch my heart. It doesn't create harmony. It's just elegant and pretty. And he ended up with images of places he loved, children he loved, the children, his children, that kind of thing. And yeah.
Bringing the love.
I think there are general principles, but at the same time, how you practice it, it helps to be very person-centered, very individualistic.
Have you ever been to Bali, William?
No, I haven't.
Because that is the island. Everybody has this daily practice. They're out there with the incense sticks, bowls of rice, every single shop you go into. And even they have a day of the car where on the car are little altars. So it's not, like 100% of homes in Bali will have an altar with all the elements, as you say, which are personal. And that's the thing, the things you love, bring them in. This is a good reminder, and make it personal. Yeah. Any more questions?
Well, there's
flowers are a lovely thing, aren't they? Just to bring in, an acorn, an apple, a flower.
Yeah, flower, but it needs to work for you. It needs to work for you. I mean, like, for instance, the incense thing. I hate it. I don't like incense. It irritates my nose,
That's the Balinese way, but yeah, absolutely. I'm staying alone.
Hello, I'm staying with my ex after selling my property, and then my father passed. Oh, I feel like I'm dealing with loss of grief. Well, condolences to you, Debbie. I'm sorry. I'm also not working. I will do the ritual in the morning. Just wondered if there's anything else to add. I'm unsure where I want to live. That's a lovely, poignant question, Debbie, that just touches my heart. One, if somebody passes who you love, there will be grief, and that takes time to heal. There's no activity that will heal it other than time, because it's like I feel that grief is you have an aura and you've had somebody in your space for maybe decades and they're not there and there's a vacuum, it's hollow, it's full of, there's a sadness and emptiness that happens, and that will fill slowly over time. So I'm not going to be flip with you and try and give you an answer, except just to say something very normal and be patient. It will pass, and my deepest condolences and for your whole situation. And I think I like people to wake up in the morning and go, just because I'm alive, I'm connected. And I may be a little human being in my apartment or flat or house with all the troubles going on around me, but I am connected to the universe, and there's comfort there, and there's a benevolence there. And yeah, go to support from source. Remember that throughout the ages and all cultures, people who take time to connect without exception say, it's good for you.
William.
Look after yourself.
Yeah, and Debbie, stay with us for the day. I'm sure there are other opportunities to have conversations and build on what William has been saying. 2 questions and then we'll stop. So.
Oh, damp home, mold. It's very dangerous, mold. I tell you what I've done in my home. I've sacrificed holidays for keeping the central heating up to deal with the mold, because we need to be warm. Now, I've got the cash to do that. Alhamdulillah, thank you. Right, dealing with mold is a real issue, and you need to get proper sprays, paints, all that kind of stuff, and sort it. It's dangerous, so I'm not going to go into a kind of subtle energy feng shui thing about it. I'm just health and safety on mold. And I really advise, especially older people, don't put your money aside for holidays. Put it aside to keep your house warm, keep your flat warm, keep your room warm. If you've got the money. If you haven't got the money, we're in a social injustice situation.
I think you're right to flag it up as important. It's an important question, not maybe the best answered here. But we could take that as a topic. If it doesn't get answered today, definitely we could take that as a topic to really look at all the options of what's possible. So we'll...
really interested in Christian's comment.
Yes.
Playing Mozart works for mold. Okay, oh, I have not heard that. That's really weird, W-Y-R-D. That's interesting. Hold it to talk about later. And he has many examples too. That's great that it's evidenced.
William, do you want to just tell us how people can get in touch with
you? It's williambloom.com. That's it.
williambloom.com. Okay, great.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
all sorts of programs you do.
Yeah, it's
find that, can't they?
Yeah, lots of free articles and stuff on the website, williambloom.com. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Gina.
So much for being here. Thank you. Bless you. Thanks for your contribution.